And boom. Okay. So a lot of what we go through is, the scripture that says the trying of our faith worketh patience, let patience have her perfect work. A lot of what we go through is personal things that allow us to grow. And so one thing that I don't want to say that I struggle with, but I have gone through a lot in my life is the defamation of character, where people will say things and they will spin a narrative and they'll tell a story about me that is not necessarily true. And I used to just kind of let it slide. It was just like, it's whatever. Um, and well, no, I don't want to say I used to. What I used to do is I used to like I'm gonna knuck a few buck. Okay. So if you talking about me, we finna bang it out. Um, but now I've gotten to a point where I say, I know who I am. I know my truth and I know where I've come from. So when we talk about the defamation of character, people will spin a narrative in order to make themselves look good. So you could be hanging out with people and it'll be a thing where they'll spin this narrative and make it seem like you're something that quite frankly, you're not. Um, and I know that it has just recently happened to me. And I thought, I cannot believe that a person would say the things that they said. And then on top of all of the things that they're saying, defamating my character, is then you want to comment names and then you calling me delusional and you're saying all these things. And I'm thinking, I could get mad at that and I wanted to, but then it was like, for what would be the purpose of me getting mad when I know who I am, when I know my truth? So I said all that to say, so when we're talking about the defamation of character, we have to get into the understanding that we too sometimes will defame our own character just by the words that we speak and then the internal dialogue that we have and the narratives that we spin about our situations. And so what I used to do is if someone would say something bad about me, um, I don't want to say that I would take it and run with it, but it would always be something that would be looming in my head. And then if a situation came about that was similar to what they said about me, then it's just like, okay, so they were true. It was right. They were true. It was true. I am this, I am that. And now it's like I've come too far and I know what it took for me to get here to allow anybody to defame my character and make me think that I am what they said that I am. I hope that kind of clears up some things for everybody as we're going through this entire process. So the defamation of character is it's a false statement that harms someone's reputation. So people will say things about you and it will harm your reputation. It will harm you, right? But then what I thought today was I was like in the process of me talking to Spirit about it, I heard Spirit say, "But you guys do it to yourselves." And I was like, "Oh." And he was like, "Outside of people," he said, "How many times have you actually sat and really had this internal dialogue and defamed your own character?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness." And then I logged on. So, what I do is I kind of do chat GPT and just kind of help them give me like the narrative and then, we'll work around it. Um, but the defamation of character is like that self-sabotage. So when someone used to say things about me, I would take that and an example they keep bringing to my attention is I remember when my mom had passed away and I was sitting on her couch and she had the big Bible and I was going through the Bible and I was just like, "Oh my God, I want to keep this Bible." And I'm going through the Bible and I see my mother has literally wrote this dissertation, like long paragraphs about me. And I'm like, "Cause why? That's my mom. Like, why would you do that?" So as I'm reading it, I'm I'm stuck. Like I'm so shook that I'm stuck And I'm looking at it and I was just like, oh my God. And my older brother comes over and he's just like, what happened? And I was like, and I'm still like, I can't believe she wrote this. The part that I got to was that she said that my life was pitiful. So that was the thing that stuck out because it was in all caps. Like she literally wrote it in all caps that my life was pitiful. So from that day forward, that was like 2010. It was like when things would happen, it would be like maybe my mom was right. Maybe my life is pitiful. Like my life is this pitiful life. Like, oh. So it became the inner dialogue. And so when I became the life coach, it was because I was having this inner dialogue with myself about me, not about what anybody else had said about me, but also, too, it's kind of like the correlation of the two, what someone had said about me, and then also taking that and then just running with what I'm in, like the present time that I'm in, like I was in at that time. So when we talk about defamation of character, it's like that self-sabotage. It's like the silent thing that we speak about ourselves. We go into this internal dialogue and we say things about ourselves, and it becomes like we get into this guilt. Um, we don't feel that we're worthy of having anything good in our life. We don't feel we're worthy of the success. We don't feel that we're worthy of having the good relationship. We don't feel that we're worthy of having the success. So we start speaking against our own selves. And that looks like I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I don't deserve success. And I hear people sometimes say, I'm so stupid, or um, I'm so dumb, or things like that. So I hear those conversations. So we align with the false narratives, and it becomes this thing where we start aligning with the whole story that someone has said about you. So I remember there was this girl that had made these comments and was saying that I was out in the clubs and I was, talking to all these guys and I was bringing guys home. And I was like, well, I don't do that. Like I don't do that. But I had to confront her because I thought, for me, when I think about when people spin a narrative, often have to wonder, what have I done to you? What was so bad that what did I do to you that was so bad that you would have to come into a place or go to a person and spin a narrative about me and make people assume that what you're saying is true? Then on the other side of that is, when you're talking to that person, why is it that what they're saying to you, like, how are you allowing a person to come to me and say something bad about me? That's like, you know, me talking about Zakia to Gail, and then, or not even that. It's just like spinning this story like, well, Zakia is this and that and that. And then to Gail, and then Gail goes back. It's just like I'm spinning a story and I'm making this story sound true. And then they're kind of like, well, and Zakia's like, well, no, that's not me. We know who we are and we know where we've come from. So it's like when you start aligning with that false narrative, you're defaming your own character. So then you start allowing the shame to lead you. So what I used to do is I used to, like, if a person, so like today we had an incident at work, and I ended up talking to my supervisor. He called me back and we were having a conversation. The old me would have like felt like, oh my God, I made a mistake. And I'm always apologize. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And, all this stuff. But I had to walk in the confidence and stand in the confidence and say, nah, because I know what I did. How many of you guys have ever done that where something happened and you did right, but then because of that internal dialogue that you start feeling like you have to apologize for doing the right thing. So it's like I've done the right thing, and so now I'm apologizing because I did the right thing, right? So it's that internal dialogue that says I made a mistake, and then the shame comes in and says that not so much as what you did was made a mistake, but you are the mistake. And it changes the whole way that you think about yourself, to where it keeps you up at night. You're unable to focus, and you feel like I made a mistake. Like I know I did the right thing, but now I feel like I made this mistake. So then it starts living in inconsistency, which I have found a lot of myself doing, where I start a project and then I'm not finishing, and then I'm inconsistent in it because then I feel like I'm not worth it. Then I feel like, well, no one's going to want to hear what I have to say, or, I'm not good enough to have this business, so I'll just let everybody else do it. We get inconsistent with what we're doing. Then this one I love is giving the others the pen to write your story. So it's like we are living our life day to day. And what we are doing is we are giving the pen over, and we're handing it to someone else, and we're telling them, write how you see me. Write the story that write your narrative about me. So it says we defame our own characters when we allow others to define who we are. If I had of let this situation that happened to me, and this was literally like 2 weeks ago, if I would have let it define me, I would have shifted myself backwards instead of going forward. While we're in this space of growth, and we have talked about, since we've been coming back to the group, we are in a place where there's the revelation, where things are being revealed, and it's not just to us it's just the whole entire world. We are starting to see people for who they really are. We're starting to see friendships. We're starting to see ourselves. We're starting to see relationships. We're starting to see just the world as a whole and an incumbent of what really is true and what has been hidden. And so seeing the things that were hidden, now we're really able to kind of move and say, you know what, I thought this person was really for me, or I thought, my job had my back. We all see now that a major CEO is going into a meeting. He gets gunned down literally on his way in, and they still hold the meeting. His body hadn't even been, it hadn't even gone cold within 24 hours, and they're already like, no, we'll just keep this party going. That moment let me know we are indispensable. So I'm not going to hold myself to a job. I'm going to continue to do what I have to do, and learning how to not be inconsistent with myself, because me being inconsistent with myself, I have spun this narrative that says I'm not good enough to even do the thing that I'm doing. I'm not good enough to be a reader, because what happens is as a reader, you tell people what you see, right? What you know, what you hear. And what I have to understand is that people are free moral agents. I only deliver what the message spirit has given to me. Um, and things take a turn because of the fact that um, people will do what they have to do. There's a scripture in the Bible that says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. A lot of people tend to um, do the opposite of that which spirit has told them to do. And so because they do the opposite of what spirit has told them to do, we find themselves in trouble. We find them in the place of where we say, spirit is like, if I give you a message, and the only message that I can remember is when I told Zakiya, don't do it. And she went and did it anyway. We're free moral agents. I can't not make you do a thing. I can't not tell you to do a thing, but I can give you the message that spirit gave to me and move it forward. So when things start happening like that, it's like, oh, am I a good reader? And, oh, did I give him the right message? And so I tend to veer from doing the readings because of the fact, like, when things start happening, it's like, well, did I give him the right message? And it's like, yeah, I know I gave him the right. Like, I know what I heard. I know what I told you. But you are the author and the finisher of your faith. So you're going to do whatever it is that you want to do outside of what I have given to you and what I've spoken and what I've heard. You are going to do your own thing. You're going to be willing to do whatever, because that's how God made you. But you have to, the difference between right and wrong. You shouldn't do a thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. I'm gonna keep the party going. I'm gonna do it anyway. So those are the five ways that we defame our own character. So I want to ask, have any of you gone through something similar? And my question is, like, what did you do when, if you've ever spoken ill of yourself? Or here's the question that Spirit is asking: have you ever had someone speak bad about you, tell a story about you. You hear the story, and then you start, and it's so crazy what they're saying is then you start moving the way um that it was told about you. I guess I hope that that provides the clarity. Like if someone's talking about you and you know that's not true, but then you start moving the way the person was talking about you. Have you ever done that? Anybody?
I
Don't
think,
all.
yeah, we're guilty. I think we all guilty of it. Like if somebody said certain things about you, like she always talking too much and she always gossiping too much. Every time I'm around her, she talking about somebody or she in somebody else's business. That could be true to a degree. I might gossip and I might be in somebody else's business when I'm talking about them.
Mhm.
So yeah, some things that people do say about us can become truth to who we are. And not intentionally we become that person. It's just that it's like you just do it. You find yourself like, did I just say that about that person?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm gossiping. Did I just say she ain't shit
Oh,
and her mama ain't either? Then I'll be like, oh Lord, I am gossiping, especially when I'm really, really angry and I'm talking about somebody.
yeah.
Oh, I can get it in real good with a person.
So
Girl,
do
she
you
ain't shit either.
feel that that is like a revelation of a trait that you need to work on?
Yeah, I do. I find myself and be like, and I say, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking about people. And I do find myself saying, okay. And then when somebody bring it to me, then I be so good. I be like, I don't engage in it. I tries to work at it. Cause when
Hmm.
I'm ticked off, you'll get it. And
Yeah,
and then I find myself being in the center of gossiping,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
try my best not to be when I'm not, then I get to preaching right to you, girl. We shouldn't be acting like that. We sisters and stuff, and black people shouldn't be doing that. Then next week you piss me off, girl. Who the fuck do she think she talking about?
Oh,
Whatever. But her regular ass. But then you know what I'm saying. Then I find myself being that person.
oh. Hmm.
So it's like contradicting what you really say, but it's the flesh get weak and it do things
Well,
that it
and that's
shouldn't.
what I was saying. So the flesh gets really weak when it comes down to how we these scenarios come. So when the situation happened, I thought, well, am I really that way? Like, do I present myself a certain way? And I had to really sit, like I've been sitting with this now. It's been like 2 weeks, and I've been sitting with it, and I thought, well, now am I, when I go anywhere, I have fun, and then I come home. I go out, I have my little fun, and then I come back home. I don't bring anybody home. I don't give out my number. I know I don't. And I thought, well, why would they make the comment of saying that about me? And so then what I found was I am now being compared to two separate women. And one of them was me and this girl, when we go out, we have a blast. Like we just have a grand old time. Like it's fun. We have a good time. And I know that she has done some things, outside of what I would do. And I'm like, that's just who she is. Now I defended her years ago, but current, I'm just like, okay, so now I don't understand why you're still doing the same thing. You got a man at home. I don't have a man, so I can do whatever I want to do, technically, right? And so then there was another girl that I started hanging around with. She's been married 35 years. She's got this husband, and they deem her as like, Saint Teresa. Like she's so holy, and she's so undefiled, and she's got this husband, and there's just certain ways that she doesn't carry herself. And I was like, okay. And I had to sit with that. But then I got a conversation from the Saint Teresa, I want to call her, and it was very hurtful because I thought, well, why would anybody, you know, why would people say that? And then what I'm saying is that I don't have anybody to defend me. So I'm defending me. And then I found myself like, well, no, I need to tell them. And I thought, what the fuck for? What am I going to come out here and tell you anything about me? Because at the end of the day, you really don't give a fuck. Like you just do not care. So why am I out here trying to defend myself and my character? Because I know who I am, and I'm not going to allow anybody to say something messed up about me. But at the end of the day, it was kind of like, you know what, like that's messed up. So when I sat today and Spirit had told me, defamation of character, and I was like, okay. He was like, because sometimes we do roll with what people say about us. Sometimes we do take on that character that people has labeled us with and said, that's who you are. So I remember going to jail and I remember I got out and I kept you try to find a job and you got the label. They labeled me as a thief. And I was like, well, shit, I only did it one time. It's not like I'm a repeat offender. I just did the shit one time. But that's what happens. You get the label. So nobody wants to really mess with you because, oh, she's got the label, she's this. And it's not true. Yeah, I did it. And I think Bishop Jakes had said it so profoundly. He was like, what I did was true, but that is not who I am.
Mhm.
So when we talk about the defamation of character, when yes, Tangi, I gossip. I gossip sometimes. I do. I say
Mhm.
little things about people sometimes. Um, because for me, and I don't want to, sit and try to excuse it, but I'm a natural investigator. I'm nosy. Okay. I got to get all the pieces to the puzzle. And because I got to get all the pieces of the puzzle, I'm finna let you just tell me whatever you need to tell me. And I might even kind of just throw in some things so you can keep filling me with the information that I need. Now, am I going to go out here and tell somebody else? No, that's just for my engagement. And that's how I operate. That's just for my wherewithal and my knowing that I'm filing all of this shit in my memory bank and like, oh my God, like this is so great. But I don't go out here and be like, well, she's this and she's that. That's just for me. You know what I'm saying? That's just for my overall engagement to say, oh shit, I got some good information. I got some good ass tea, and I am going to I'm going to use it to my advantage, right? I got it. So I'm going to let you just and then I'm just going to be like, "Oh, that's amazing." And then I'm just going to file it. Because for me, it's like, oh, I got some information on you. I got some tea. Or I got to know you in a place that, that's for me. Um, so I have learned, like you, Tangi, to mitigate my conversations. So what I have done, and the reason I say that is because a lot of times in the gossiping sessions, a lot of what I have said has been turned and used against me.
Yeah.
And all I am is just a listener, and I make one little simple comment, and then it's just like, well, Tarina said, la, 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 and you're just like, well, bitch, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
um, what I have learned to do is I don't engage in the conversations anymore. What's today? They got a delayed start again. Cherry Creek. Okay. Anyway, so what I have learned to do is I don't engage in the conversation. And this is a lesson because a lot of the things that we are going through when we talk about defamation of character, it's you know how people go to court and they be like, well, they defamed my character and they said things about me. Yes, in business, that is a messed up thing. You know how people go on Yelp? Think about yourself as your own entity, and you are out here moving so fucked up in a way that if someone was to give you a personal review, this is a good message. If someone was to give you a review on your own personal business page, what would they say? And is it something that will affect you in the long run? And then we got to think about it because for me, I'm not fucking with you when it comes down to business. Because if you messed up in personal, oh no, we ain't, I'm not finna even operate with you in business. Because I feel like if you are that way in personal, you're gonna be like that in business and probably even worse. So if you're a shady person in your personal life, somewhere along the way, your business ethics are going to be shady as well. So That is a question that you need to ask yourself. If how I'm moving today, is that going to be, if someone was to do a review on me right now, what would they say? And would it be something that would naturally affect my personal and my business? Because we're seeing it right now all throughout TikTok where people are personally coming out and they are being a certain way. And guess what it's doing? It's affecting their personal life and it's affecting their jobs and their businesses and careers. Okay. It's affecting so many aspects of a person's life. So when we talk about defamation of character, how are you moving that is going to have a person spin a narrative about you? And what is the review that you're going to get? And then also for yourself, outside of you guys, friends, few and far in between. So I have to, and I uphold myself in this. I have to carry myself in a certain way because I know that I run a business. Okay. I'm a mother and I have a job. And my job is through the county. So I have to uphold myself in a certain way and I have to have a certain character about myself because I'm not only representing them, I'm representing myself, right? And so if I'm out here and I'm moving really messed up and I'm, defaming the county or I'm saying things about the county and then I'm saying I'm a life coach, but then I'm out here being reckless with my words. It says so much. So I don't know if any of you know the lady Dr. Bryant. She it was on Real Housewives. Nope, Basketball Wives. She was on Basketball Wives. And she had an event and the ladies came in and some of them reckless. Um, some of them came in and said some things, and she reacted in such a way that I was just like, ain't no way I would mess with her. Gives great advice, wonderful advice, but there was just no way that I could work with her. And that's just my personal opinion because of how she reacted. Like as a professional person, you should never allow a person to take you out of that character,
Mm,
and then because what happens is then they start spinning this narrative. Like, well, she got, for me, she
mm,
gives a good message. But then it's like, oh, sis, like, whew, yikes. Personally, I wouldn't want to work with you because I seen how you went off on them. And if and God forbid, now if I do something and I wouldn't know, is that going to be something that's going to make you trigger you to attack me in such a way that it was bad. So when we talk about defamation of character, um, let's talk about some of the things that you guys have done or have said about yourself that you can recall, or the question is, can you recall sometimes that you have um, you've defamated your character and you spun this narrative about yourself, and how did you get out of it? If you did, and if you
mm.
didn't, how can we help you get out of it?
Good
Anybody?
question.
Anybody? 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 No? Nobody?
I got one.
Oh, Gail. Very good.
Hmm. Um, so you guys know a year ago I walked away from my job, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was clearly because my boss was trying to make me look like the bad person when it was actually them, right?
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
and then when I walked away from that, I had this idea that it was like the old days where you could easily find a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I landed a part-time gig with an animal, just a small company, which there's a big difference between corporate and small business accounting.
Hmm.
And I would never work for a small business company ever again. because they do things differently. And um, I sometimes wouldn't want to be a party of some of their guidelines of what they use to do their books. Um, so that was not a fit for me. And I thought, Jesus, I can't even do a 30-hour a week job at an animal kennel place. And then I get hired on to this construction place, and I caught them pretty much right away. The girlfriend was doing some shady crap behind the boyfriend, right? And I brought it up and brought it to the open, let's just say. Well, foreseeably, they told the guy, the HR company that sent me there, that I how to use QuickBooks was, which pissed me off more than anything because I can use any financial package out there, honestly. So I'm like, what the, am I going crazy? You start thinking like, is this me? Is this my life now? Is this what's going on? And you know, it really became depressing, honestly. And then I hooked up with this other company and decided to try some um, couple of temp gigs for. I did an audit at one trucking place, and then I started working at Habitat for Humanity, which is amazing. And I found out today the guy from the trucking industry was wondering if I was still at Habitat or what happened with that deal with me, because he he's been thinking about me when, and he wanted to hire me too full time. So it was like when it all came down to it, um, I called back the HR guy and I told the HR guy what was going on and told him that for his own ethical reasons that he might not want to probably explore working with that company anymore because they weren't doing things on the up and up. But I was, for a while there, I thought maybe it is me. Maybe I was the problem all along. Maybe this is what's going on. And it wasn't until I did these two temp jobs that I learned that I just needed to find where my fit was, right? I just needed to find where I belong. And now I go to work. I love going to work. I love the people that I'm around. Um, and I'm starting to build that confidence up. The one piece that was missing is I still wasn't working a permanent job. I mean, there was still that they could cut you beneath the knees at any time, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think we can create our own, mess in our heads
Yep.
just by somebody starting to roll the ball one way. And um you know the thing was is I could have legally done something about the first job that I walked away from.
Mhm.
But I chose not to, because you got to kind of pick your battles sometimes, and you got to just decide what your peace and serenity worth is.
Yeah.
Something you really want to go fight the city of Omaha, the OPPC, utilities.
Yeah.
I'll let them pay me enough
Yeah.
to go away for a little while. But no, I totally get it. And then, uh, you know,
Yeah.
I think that's the natural process for any of us.
Yeah. And I like what you said about like when we have to go to, it's like the bottom in order to get to the top. Like
Mm.
I had to go to temp jobs Like I had to
Yeah.
go to a temp job just to really figure, like, Gail, come on, man. Like, where do you fit? Is this a natural fit for you? And so finding that, I love when you said that, like I had to find where I fit and I had to find that place and I had to really say to myself, it ain't me. I know it's not me. And so finding that place of saying, this is where I fit, that makes it all the more better. Because, like, for me, it's like, when we go through those things and people are saying those stuff, this was like very hurtful. Like, I couldn't believe, I was like, I cannot believe, I cried for like a couple of days. And I just sat with God and I was like, God, are you serious? And I kept saying, well, why is it
Hmm.
bothering me? Why is it bothering me? And he said, it's bothering you because you know it's not true.
Hmm.
Well, the other thing that comes to mind when you're saying this, in talking about like more on a personal basis and that type of thing, there's the old adage what my dad used to tell me. If you don't care about them, their words don't mean anything.
Hmm.
Words shouldn't mean anything. It's the ones that you're close to
Yep.
that are like a sword or a dagger.
Hmm.
That you would least expect it. And that was the thing that I thought. It was like having a conversation with someone and they were like, well, I want to know about A, B, C, and D. And I was like, oh, man, whatever, because I really could care less at this point. This person has kind of moved on and I've moved on. And, I was just like, it's whatever. And then I get this phone call and I'm like, I'm so taken aback. Like they said, what? And they're not the first person that used the word delusional, that said I'm delusional. And
Hmm.
then I hear I'm naive and it's just you're so nice. And I think like, y'all really think that? Like for me, I'm thinking, you really think that I'm naive? And I had to tell them, no, I'm not. I'm not naive. Just because I don't say nothing, that don't mean I don't know. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't like I'm just not
Right.
aware of it. You think that I'm naive because I don't say nothing. I said sometimes I just I let sleeping dogs lay, and I'm gonna let you gonna
Mm.
hurt your own self. I don't have to come out here and say anything to you.
Hmm.
I just let you fuck up. I let whatever
People,
you're about to do, don't think that I don't see it. And I said, and they're like, well, see, that's what I'm saying. It's because you're so nice. And it's just like, okay, you think that I'm nice. What I tend to do after that is I cut you off. And I told her, this person is dead to me. I don't care. I said, we can be sitting in the same room. Jesus, the 12 disciples, the 24 elders, we could all be sitting in the room with this person. And guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to speak to them. They're like, well, don't do that because they won. I said, listen, at this point in the game, I said, the only reason why this person is saying what they're saying is because they couldn't have me the way they wanted me. Please hear what I said to you. I said, the
Hmm.
only reason why the person and people will spin a narrative about us is because we are not doing what they want us to do. And they
So
couldn't
true.
have us the way
Mm,
they
mm,
wanted us.
mm.
And because we didn't move in that way of the naivety or moving in the way of being so sweet, then it becomes, oh, well, she's this and that. But then was like, backdoored it with, well, they didn't say anything bad about you, spoke high of you. And I said, you cannot make me believe that you just said that to me. And I'm like, oh, did you hear what you just said to me? They didn't speak nice of me. They said some messed up stuff about me. And then you want to tell me, but they didn't say anything. They spoke high of you. I said, what part of the conversation? Where in there did they say anything nice about me? So I sat with it for a couple of days and I thought, God, because I said, why is it concerning me? And he said, because it was the person that you least expected. The person the least expected person that I would have ever thought that would have had something to say, said something about me. And I thought, and why? And then I told God, I said, I'm angry too, because that would be like one of you guys, someone saying something about you guys in front of me. You don't get to do that and not think that I'm finna fight for them. Oh no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Okay. And I used to tell people, so I had this girl, a girlfriend of mine years ago, and she was a whore. Oh God, she was thotty spice. And
Serena.
she was.
Oh my gosh. What
She
are
was
we
thotty.
talking about here? And you throw that out there.
I'm
My goodness.
sorry, but she was a little thotty spice. She was thotty. She was. And I have told her to her face. Um, so she had a baby by a married man. And when I found out, I was like, why would you do that? Like, you do. So regardless of whatever she did, I still rock with her. I still was her friend. I'm gonna rock with you. I'm gonna do whatever. Um, Particular year we go up to the mountains like we normally do, and she asked the question of, well, what if he shows up? And I said, then you act like he doesn't exist. I'm good at that. I am so great at that. I just don't see you. Okay. If you've done me dirty, I just don't see you. I don't know you. So I said, well, he doesn't exist. You go on and live your life. And girl, and we just gonna get pretty. And he just doesn't exist. You don't see him. Well, remember when I said free moral agent, you're gonna do whatever you want to do? We're having I'm having a grand time. And I see the guy come in with his wife, and I'm thinking, oh my God. My objective at that point is I need to protect my friend. So I go to try to find her, to grab her, to bring her to me. And it's almost like like, when your child is in some kind of, that they're about to, let me go grab my baby and bring my baby to me so I can protect my child from any hurt, harm, or danger. I want to protect you. So I go looking for her to try to protect her. And she went out into the middle of the street, got ran over. And I'm thinking, oh. And so she comes to me, she tells me what happened. I'm thinking, girl, because why would you do that? And she says, well, I didn't want him to get away with it. And I said, but he already has. Regardless of whatever you think, he has already gotten away with the fact that there's a baby's here, and he is going to do whatever he wants to do. Your objective now is to ensure that your child is taken care of and he's okay. You got to make sure he's okay. Regardless of whatever that guy is going to do, make sure your child is okay, mentally, emotionally. Just raise the baby, right? And if he comes around, then you get to have that adult conversation. And if and he don't, you get to tell your baby, listen, this is what it is. You can find him. This is his name. This is where he lives, whatever. Fast forward, I'm having a conversation with the guy, and because I went to school with the guy, so I know him and I work with him, having a conversation with him, and he was saying stuff about her. And I said, no. I said, you don't get to say that about my friend. Now I do because I know her. Okay. You don't get to say that because you're saying it out of a space that is trying to jab her because now you've gotten caught in this situation. I say it because I see it and I'm trying to walk her through not being that way. But you don't get to say that about my friend. So nobody gets to come to me and say, well, Gail is that. No, you don't get to say that. You don't get to say that about my friend. Please, are you crazy? So you don't get to defame another person's character, and I've been around them and I know them. I'm learning, Tangela, to kind of say, well, let's call her. Let's call Gail. Let's call her right now on the phone. So you can tell Gail how you feel. And then it's that saying that they have now, keep the same energy, keep the same energy. Okay. So how I feel now about my personal situation is I told her, well, let him keep the same energy. And he says, well, we're just friends. I said, were we? No friend would ever treat a person that way. And I said, so at the end of the day, we are not friends. We will never be friends. So I'm not going to consider him a friend. So I'm not even going to speak to them. I'm not speaking to them at all. So if I see them, we're not speaking. Um, so I just keep the same energy. So no one will get to come and say anything about any one of you ladies without me saying, mm-mm, not my friend. Let's call her real fast, because you're not going to defame her character to me and think that I'm going to run with that and say, oh, well, and then give you some kind of energy back so you can go back and tell her, because this is what happens. So say me and Gail are having a conversation about Tara, And then Gail goes back and was, she's telling me all this stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And then she goes back and tells Tara things that I said, but not what she said. Because that's what happens when a group of women get together and,
Yeah.
that's exactly what happens. Someone will go back and say something other than what that person said and not
Hmm.
tell them the full scope of the story. And then it'll be like, oh, well, I didn't say that. And it'll be like, that's not what happened. So when we talk about defamation of character, um, reclaiming myself this past 2 weeks was like, ooh. So I was down Sunday, no, Saturday. I was down a couple of days, and my kids were like, "Well, Mom, what's going on?" And I was just like, nothing. And as the water sign, it's like we go all the way down and then we become the phoenix rising and we rise back up and we have to, then we have to go to this dying of ourself, and then we rise again. And it's like, rising again is just like, okay, because now I'm coming back harder, I'm coming back stronger, and I'm coming back with the courage and the confidence to say, you don't get to do that to me. 2025, I made a declaration to myself and I said, you don't get to keep talking to me messed up and think that I'm not going to say nothing to you. Okay. So
Mhm.
naive and sweet, out the window. You don't get to talk messed up to me and think that I'm not finna say nothing back to you. I don't care who you are. You don't get to do that to me, because here's what I tell people. If I serve you a plate and that plate is really nice and it's clean and it's presented well, why the fuck do you think that you get to give me shit back? And
Hmm.
then I'm supposed to be like, oh, okay. Because no, the plate that you serve me is what you finna get back with all my stuff on top of it too. So you give me nasty, I'm giving you nasty. You give me rude, I'm giving you rude. You give me condescending, it's coming back. I promise you. And I know, we talk about Bible and it tells us to turn the other cheek, but come on, man. There's only so much that you could do. Over the course of time, what I have learned is people spin the narrative that she's naive, that she's so sweet, um, that she's so nice, that we could just say whatever to her and she's just gonna go with it. La, la, la. And because I hadn't addressed it, that's the narrative that people spin. She's just gonna, oh, she's just so sweet. You could, and I'm pretty sure they probably said, well, you could just say whatever to her and she's just gonna accept it. Absolutely not. Because don't you get tired? I'm pretty sure Jesus got tired. He got tired of them, this, the Pharisees. He got tired of them. He had to, let me say something to you. And I'm pretty sure for me, this is the way I would be if it was Jesus. Let me say something to y'all. I don't even know why y'all talking like that. Now, if you want me to be the king of Jews today, I'll be the king of Jews today, but tomorrow I'm gonna be something else. Okay. You don't get to keep coming for me, attacking me, saying things about me, and think that I'm not gonna say nothing to you. Matter of fact, I even heard what you said. I heard your thoughts about me, about Jesus, the word. I just came down here to fulfill a purpose. That's all I came to do. I'm not bothering y'all. I'm not saying nothing to y'all. I ain't even attacked y'all. I ain't said nothing to you Pharisees. Nothing. All I'm down here to do is teach these 12 how to do what I'm doing so they can go out to the people and give it to the people. And y'all just attacking me. Can you imagine just being a woman at work in your day to day? I'm just here to do what God told me to do. I'm
Hmm.
here to make some t-shirts, make some candles, do some spreadsheets. I'm just here to do what he told me to do. I'm here to coach women and then I'm going about my business. But then here you come trying to defame my character. What? And then not only them, but then you. How many times have you sat there because you got a situation going on, and then you just get beneath yourself? God, I can't spend, I'm not good at money. I'm so bad at money. I'm so sorry at money. Money's just, or I'm not good at relationship. That's why I'm always single. I found myself saying that, like I'm always single. I'm always by myself. I always come out on the short end of the stick. I'm always this. And he had to check me and was like, you keep saying always, that's what you always gonna get. You always gonna get that. And he was like, how about you start changing the narrative that you are loved, that people do want to be
Mm-hmm.
around you, that you are a good person, that you are a good speaker, that you do, wonderful work, that you're very creative. And I was like, you know what? Don't come for me. And I had to tell God, don't come for me. Okay. This was just 2 days ago because I was still in that little lull. I'm coming out of it, but I was in this little lull and I'm looking around at things. I'm just looking around my life and the narrative starts to creep back in. And I was like, no, I'm a good mother. My kids ain't in jail. They ain't on dope. They don't have 50 million kids. Um, they're wholesome girls. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, man, I thought, and I'm thinking, because I'm comparing myself, my children to other people. And I was like, these are my kids. God gave me these kids. Now, whatever you're gonna do
Right.
with them, and I told God, whatever you're gonna do with them, this is what you do. And I have to learn how to release the kids and say, you know what, God, now it's about me. And I have to give them back to you. And I told him, I said, God, I'm sorry. If I didn't give them back to you and I thought I did, I'm sorry. But you take them now because I'm weary. I'm tired. I'm fed up, and this is what it is. But honoring myself in the down slope of what I got going on, rather than sitting in it saying, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're right. Maybe I am unlovable. Maybe I am a sorry mom. Maybe I am, bad at money, or maybe I do have a pitiful life, the story that my mother spent, or maybe it is, I am a bad individual, or maybe I do have a certain way about me. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Because here's the thing, the person that's going to find me, he's going to find me. The friends that I get, they're going to be friends that are like minded. You think I give a shit about a person who ain't got no more than what I got? No. So, writing in my journal, I vowed to myself, I'm not going to keep feeling sorry for myself, defamating my character while I'm talking to God. Can you imagine that? I'm sitting having a conversation with God, and I'm just like, well, God, I nobody loves me. I'm unloved. My kids is disrespectful, and then they think of me as I'm a worst person. Then I'm not married. I don't think I'm ever gonna get married. I've been single for so long. God, I'm just this is what it is. And then look at my credit score. My credit score is this. I ain't never gonna get out of credit. Please, having a
Right.
conversation with God with my dad, and I'm telling him, and he's looking at me like, I don't even see you that way. Can you imagine his face is like, what? Like, you see yourself that way? And I'm like, that's how I see me. But he's like, but that's not how I see you. Like, he's like, I don't see you that way. So tonight when I asked him what we were going to talk about, he was like, defamation of character, because we do it. We all do it. We all
Mm-hmm.
have this innate way that we talk about ourselves. Hi, what's going on? What? This is my second grandson. No, third. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, you sound a little raspy still. Okay, bye. He had the flu, so
Oh.
yeah. So he's just recovering. So he's probably going to be down a couple more days. Anyway, so hearing Gail's story, it's like you got to find, and I'm gonna probably do like maybe a little worksheet or put it in the newsletter. So it's like finding your place, finding your fit, finding where you fit into a space where sometimes there's a puzzle that is being put together. And what we have done over the course of our lives is we have tried to put ourselves in places that we just don't belong.
Mm. Right. Right.
Sometimes we
So
just
true.
don't belong in these places. We don't
Yeah.
belong in people's lives. We don't belong in
Mm-hmm.
friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And we just try to put ourselves in these places. And I love that Gail said that because that was like the only thing she said,
Mm.
two things, but that thing that stuck out to me the most was like finding your fit, finding where you
Right.
fit in,
Mm-hmm.
finding your place, and knowing that when I wake up in the morning, it's just like, oh, I get to do this today.
Right.
I get to sit down and I get to teach women. I get to have conversations with them. I get to talk to them. I get to enjoy their company. I get to be honest with them. I get to be authentic with them. I get to share parts of me with no judgment. Can you like
Right.
that to me is like the safest space coming on Wednesday that we get. I could come to you guys, I can cry to you guys, I can, have private conversations, and I know that if I have a conversation with Gail, it ain't going no further than me and Gail. I love that piece. Um
Yeah.
that I get to make this, like that we've created this sacred place, and we fit here. And no matter what's going on in the outside, I know Wednesday is like, I said, God, okay, listen, now I know I've messed up. And he was like, no, you didn't mess up. Like Gail said, you just had to find
And that's so true.
where you
That is
fit.
so true because I feel like because when I was, was so active with the group, and then, I just went through some things,
Hmm.
but I would always say to my daughter, was first she would start coming to me, you don't do the women thing. I was like, no, just going through dealing with different stuff. And then I start just dealing with things. And then it was more like, you know what? I did so good. It was so peaceful. I felt safe here. Um, I've always talked about, me, being
Hmm.
MIA, missing in
Yeah.
action. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it really, really, the group has really, really helped me. And I made an obligation to myself. I said, well, I need to really reach out. And I didn't do it, reach out. But when I got the confirmation, when you sent the for the video, I said
Uh,
that was for me, and because I really do, and I love each and every one of you ladies. I feel like we all have bond in different ways, and I felt it is a safe space for me, and I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? It's like
hmm.
it really has helped me, and now even though I went a different direction, and now I'm coming back to the direction I feel like is meant for me to be here. Yeah, so that is really the group has really really helped me.
Well, we are glad
Yeah.
to have you back. When I seen that, because I did the form, and
Hmm.
I was like, well, no, wait a minute. Did I just miss something? And then I seen your name and I was like, oh my gosh. So I wanted this to be a place, and God has been really, really dealing with me in 2025 on that. So my godmother had reached out to my daughter. So my godmother is my oldest two daughters' grandmother. And she reached out to me and she said, I don't know what's going on. She said, but you have been on my mind for a month. She said, I have tried to shake it and I just don't know what's going on. And I was like, I don't know. I said, I think I'm fine at that point. But that was when the whole defamation of character came up. And I wanted to cry to that woman so bad. But I said, I held it. So I held it and I just was like, oh, I'm okay. I think I'm okay. And I knew that what I was going through was between me. Oh God, why am I going to cry? Was between me and God. I couldn't give that to anybody. I couldn't share it, although I wanted to. Because normally I tell my kids, and I tried to share it with my oldest one, but I just couldn't give all of the details. Like I couldn't get into that space because I didn't know at that moment how I was feeling. All I knew was that I was really hurt by what a person would say about me and thought, well, why would they say that? And I had to think, am I out here really presenting myself in a way that would have a person or people think so less of me or think so bad of me, but speak high of me at the same time? Such an oxymoron, and it didn't make any sense to me. Um, and I couldn't go through it, so I couldn't tell anybody. So I'm talking to her on the phone. I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And she said, all I heard was come home. And then she asked me if I had a church home. So Tara should know this story. Like these kind of things where people ask you, well, what church you go to? And you're just like, I don't go to church because I'm more spiritual now. So I have, it's you don't know how to tell people. Well, I know how to tell them now. Before I was like, I just don't. So I'm like, I don't go to church. I don't have a church home. But what I told her was this. I said, I haven't lost the word. I still read my word. I still give the word. I said I have a group that we talk on Wednesday, and I do the word, we talk about the word on the Wednesday call. And I said, so I haven't lost that part of church. Or not so much as church, but I haven't lost that part of God. Going to church, no, that I can't see myself back there. Um, so I'm going through that, and when he said, come home, I was like, okay, so what do you mean? And so what I took away from that, his saying coming home to me was come back to me. Come back and sit with me so that I can tell you what you need to do. You have, like, I've gotten so caught up in um just life, that life just, and I don't want to say I put him to the side, but I just kind of just like, well, I got kids, I got this and this one, whatever. And that word for me to come back home was like, okay, God, I know that you are telling me I need to get back to you and making you the focus of what I have going on. And all I could see in the day that I was writing was all this stuff is going on around me, but I'm just in my own little world writing while all hell is breaking loose, and he is just there. And he's just like, don't pay attention to what's going on around you. Just focus on what I told you to do. I told you. And I said, okay. So coming back to that place, it was like I had to really get into that, that focus. And so the defamation of character, it had me in my mind. Like, I'm really like, am I really? Did I really? Have I really? Did I go out? And so I said, well, see, God, this is the reason why I don't go out in the streets anymore. That's number one. I don't go out in the streets no more. Um, because of the fact that it's the same people, just a different day, different year, different time, different moment, different club, whatever, that just have spun this narrative about me, that have this way of thinking about me. And so I thought, well, why would I go out and be with people who just really don't care about me, in any capacity? And then two, it was just, there's really nothing out there. And I just had, I don't want to say I don't have the income. My income, I am choosing to put towards things that are going to benefit me in the long run, that are going to uplift me, rather than me going out spending $30 on drinks with people who really couldn't care. You know what I'm saying? Um, so with Gail, I love that. I love that she said finding your fit. So reclaiming your name. So when we talk about the defamation of character that we have put ourselves in, reclaiming our name means that we have spent time and years, months, days, minutes, milliseconds, defaming ourselves, unknowingly defaming ourselves. And it's just by the way we speak. So Louise Hay would always say, change your thinking, you change your life. If you change the way you think about yourself, you're going to change the way your life is, right? So if we keep talking about, well, I'm not loved and I don't have this and I don't have that, and I will always have a credit score of this, or I will always be alone, I will always be this way, or always, you will always have those things. So reclaiming what our name, is we have to reclaim the story, right? So it says, guard your words, speak about yourself and honor with honor and truth. How can I have anybody, how would I expect anybody to honor me when I don't even honor me? I don't even think of myself as valuable. I don't even think of myself as confident, or my esteem is high, or I'm good with my words, I'm articulate, I'm smart. Like I tell people, like, now it's like, don't, I'm not dumb. Please don't talk to me like I don't know nothing. And it becomes that little girl where she's 5 years old, and my mother's down, like talking to me like I don't have no kind of sense, like I'm just dumb. Those things, a lot of where I attribute when you're talking to me, it comes from when I was a little girl, and how my mother used to communicate to me as if I didn't know nothing. And I feel like this: if I don't know nothing, then teach me something. Don't just talk down to me and talk to me like as if like, well, you should have
Right.
known, and I wouldn't let nobody do such and such. Okay, well that's fine. But teach me how to not have a person treat me so messed up. What do I need to do? And give me some kind of lessons or something. So, watching my words, I have to speak high of myself. I have to value myself. I have to respect myself. Um, and I have to say, what does that look like? At 53, what does that look like for me to have someone respect me? What does that look like for me to even respect myself? What does that look like for me to even honor myself, to value myself, to appreciate myself? What does that look like for me? Because when I can start, um, honoring myself with my words and guarding myself and speaking of myself, high of myself, then I know people will speak of me the same way. Um, so it's like, what do I need to do for myself that would have some kind of value? For me, is well, I'm gonna stay at home. I'm gonna be at home and I'm gonna go to work and I'll be around people that I know, um, that I don't know really, and I'll start going out to nice, fun, fancy restaurants, or I'll start, being around doing other things other than what I used to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that same,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is the only black club we can go to, and then I'm gonna go down here, and then I'm gonna be down here with this person, knowing that that's where trouble lies, or that's where a lot of where the people will say the things about me. So challenge the false beliefs, reject any narrative that doesn't align with who God says you are. Again, can you imagine you sitting there and you having this conversation with God and you're telling God, well, God, because in essence we are, um, because remember, he's omnipresent. He's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Um, so can you imagine just sitting having a conversation and saying, well, God, I'm just, I'm poor, and, I'm unloved, and, I'm not talented, I'm not gifted, and, I'm suffering from depression, and, I'm fat, and, I'm lazy, and, I'm just inconsistent. And he's looking at you like, what? That's like one of your kids coming to you saying that. And you're like, what? Because I see my kids as like, you're beautiful, you're smart, you have certain attributes that you probably don't even know that you have, but I see them. Like I see the good, I see your attributes, I see goodness inside of you, I see your skills, I know your talents, like I see them. And it's like, as a parent, we try to pull out the gifts and talents of our kids, but they don't use them. And if they do, they're kind of like minuscule. But that's how we are with God. He's like, well, I see your gifts and talents, I see your attributes, I see your value, I see your worth. And I even sometimes try to make you use it in certain aspects, in certain arenas in your life. You use it minutely, but you don't use it to the full gamut that's going to be, successful for you. And you would dare come to me and, like, as your father, can you imagine him weeping to say, oh my God, my daughter thinks that, she's not worthy of having a good relationship. And I used to tell God, well, I don't even know why you would send me a relationship because I don't even know what to do. This is my conversation. I don't even know what to do. But I desire to have one. But I was like, God, I don't even know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do if I had one. I was like, so I want it, but I wouldn't know what to do. And he was like, okay. So it's not a matter of you knowing what to do. It's a matter of you asking me what to do in those moments. Having the relationship. Okay. It's like having a job. Well, God, I want to have this wonderful career. Okay. Well, tell me what that looks like, and what do you want to do, and what would it feel like, and how would you move in that? How would you get up? How do you get dressed when you go to this job that you say you want to have? Why would you think that I wouldn't give you that? That's the thoughts that you have about God, that he's not going to give it to me. God ain't going to bless me with that. He's not going to give me a good man. He's not going to do anything. And he's like, well, I would like to. But because you don't believe that I'm going to give it to you, I'm, not saying that I don't want to, but you got to believe that I will, and that I can, and that you can have healthy, loving relationships, or a wonderful, bountiful job that pays you six figures. My cousin earns six figures right now. When I heard that, I was like, what? She was like, yeah, I earned six figures, but she lives in New York. So can you imagine the cost of living there?
Right.
But when I heard, I was like, wait a minute. I said, cuz, hold up. She was like, yeah, I earned six figures. And I was like, in my mind, I thought, what would I do with a six-figure income? And I thought, probably wouldn't do half the stuff that she's doing. But, I mean, I thought, six figures, geez, what would you do? I was like, I'm at half of that, cuz I'm not even where you're at. I'm at like half. So anyway, um, let's go to living with integrity. Align your actions with your values. What do you believe about yourself? Okay. What do you believe to be true about you? Don't, and I this weekend, these past 2 weeks, I had to align my values, my words with what I believe to be true about me, not about what somebody else said. And a sorry dude at that. Okay. I had to align my views with what I believe to be true about me. So I sat down with my notebook and I wrote down attributes about that I believe to be true about me. And I said, and I'm going to walk in those attributes. I'm going to walk in those ways about myself. I'm not going to allow anybody to make me feel less than, have low confidence, low esteem, low value, low honor about me. Like, no, no. I just was like, I cannot do it. So aligning your live with your integrity, aligning your values to who you believe to be true. And I know one thing with Gail, I remember her going through this and this situation, it was tough because it was a friend. You know what I'm saying? It was somebody that she was friends with for so long. And this person like tried to ruin her reputation, ruin her integrity, and then ruin the way Gail really saw herself. That was the most troubling, it was hurtful, just to have a friend going through that. Because we like, do we need to come to Nebraska? Because we can come. But it was in that moment, just hearing those kind of conversations about a person. And I know Tara has expressed some stuff to me too. I'm not going to tell her business. um but just to have a person to devalue you in such a way based off of the narrative that they have spun within their own selves. And then because they believe it, they'll tell another person, this is a good message, they'll believe it and then tell another person as if that
Mm-hmm.
is true. And then have people out here thinking that what they've said about you is true. And then people are looking at you as if you are the scum or whatever because of what this person said. And I thought, well, why? What what merit do they have to make them be so almighty that people would that you're actually listening to this person? You believe them? That says a lot about you as a human. That you would listen to a person that number one, and I told this is what I said to the person that gave me the information. They don't know me well enough to make the statements that they've made about me. They don't know me well enough have any assumptions basis. They don't know me, and you don't know me well enough to listen to what a person has said. You don't know me well enough. They don't know me well enough to make any kind of statement about me. Okay. Um, mm, Swallowed a piece of ice. Forgiving yourself. Please, please, please. So release the shame and embrace your growth. When we go through these defamation of characters, and it was like I was telling Tangi, it's a moment of recognizing that that's an issue or that's something that I need to work on. How I speak to myself, how I speak to others, um, how I present myself to others. Because again, think of a Yelp review that's going to come that day. Have you provided the ultimate service to people that are in your sphere of influence? And what do you think the review will be for the day? I know that there are times that my tone um, gives off like I just don't care when I'm talking to people. especially the clients that I deal with. And I just am like, it's just me. After a while, my tone kind of changes, because I know people don't understand the processes that we have to go through. But anyway, sometimes my tone, and I have to catch myself and say, Trina, you sound like you just don't care. And so I have to kind of change the tone. And, okay, so tell me how. Um, but at the end of the day, this is a process that you should kind of start taking into consideration on your day to day. Are you moving in with integrity in such a way that at the end of the day, if you were to go and check your Yelp review, what do you think the review would be? Okay. Forgiving yourself means that I have to walk in the forgiveness and honor myself and say, I forgive me for, and I even said it, told God, I said, God, I forgive me for allowing myself to even be intertwined with this person. I forgive me for even believing that this person had my best interest at heart. I forgive myself for even trusting this person with me. I forgive myself for even trusting that person with me. I had to forgive myself. And then I had to turn around. And in the process of me forgiving myself, started forgiving that person. When we think about how Jesus was when he was persecuted by a Judas, I'm teaching you how to be like me and you betray me.
Mm.
When he was on the cross, do you remember what he said? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do.
Mm.
We got to forgive people. And I won't even say because they don't know what they're doing. Some people don't know what they're doing, but rightly so. You know what you're doing. You know
Mhm.
exactly what you're doing. You are trying to take the what is that saying? It's taking the something off of you and putting it the attention, taking the attention from you and putting it on me to make me out to be the bad person when it's you the whole time. The other person is the person that is the they're the negative person. But in the process of me forgiving myself, I started forgiving that person and my mom as well. Um, so take back the pen. So it's like taking back the pen is how like I am klepto when it comes to pens. Like I love pens.
Me too.
I
Me too.
love pens. If I see a pen and I start writing with that pen, I'm taking it. Okay. I'm taking your pen and I'm gonna find more pens just like it. So I was at my job and they had these pens. Oh, they were beautiful pens and they wrote so smooth. And I found the box of pens. So I went and took like two or three of them just so I could have extra. And so that's what Spirit is saying. Go to those people and take you. That's my favorite pen. So now here's the thing. If that pen comes out of my hand and somebody takes my pen, baby, excuse me, that's my pen. That belongs to me, right? So I even when I'm signing like on, when you get your credit card and you have to sign your name, I don't even use their pens. I'm like, oh, I got my own. Thank you. So take back the pen. When you see somebody about to when they have spun this narrative, just excuse me, hi, that pen belongs to me. Give me my pen back. Right? You don't get to keep writing a story about me or telling an untruth or, you know, um creating a story that doesn't even fit the book. Like that doesn't even fit. That doesn't even fit in this chapter of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
That don't fit in this chapter of my life. So learning to walk in confidence, taking the pen back and taking back your life. Um, there's a song from church that says, I'm taking back, um, oh God, what is it? I'm taking back, oh, where is Tara? She probably can't even hear me.
I'm here.
Oh, what's the song, Tara?
Whatever.
Hey, babies.
So ghetto. What's up, baby?
Taking back what told me. Taking back what God promised me. You know that song. So taking back everything that was taken from you. Okay, your integrity. your livelihood, your reputation, your name. Um, you know, take all that back and tell a person, mm-mm, you don't get to say those things about me. You don't get to say the negative things about me and then make me feel bad about myself. You just don't get to do that. So I love that God had brought this out. I know I've done a lot of talking, but I want to be able to hear from you guys about, the defamation of character, how it affects you on both ends, where if it's a person and then if it's yourself, like how does that affect you? And then what are some key things that you guys can do to um, to really start moving into the space that you're supposed to be in, and not allowing a person to affect you where it stops you. Because what I keep getting is, what if it was Joseph? Do you remember when Joseph went to his brothers and was like, "Hey y'all, so listen, I had a dream. And this dream was, I had these 12 sheets and they were bowing down to me. Ain't that crazy?" And they was like, "Please, we ain't finna bow down to you. What you talking about? What you talking about?" So then the brothers, flesh and blood, was like, mm-mm. He out here talking about he finna rule over us. And dad out here giving him all this stuff. He done gave him the robe of many colors, whatever. You know what we finna do? We finna go and kill him. But this is what people will do. They will talk about us and not so much as kill us physically, but kill us emotionally, spiritually, financially, emotionally. They'll kill us. So it's like, well, we'll just kill him. We'll just go ahead and we'll kill him. And, we'll tell dad this is what happened to him. So they take his robe of many colors, they rip it up, they, you know, the false narrative, they get this animal, they slaughter the animal, put the blood on the animal, of the animal on the coat, and then they put him in this hole, because that's what people do, follow the whole narrative. They put us in a hole, and then um they leave us to rot in the hole that they put us in, and then go back and tell them, so, they died. We was out there and we was hunting and the animal got him and killed him, killed her. Just the animal got him and she's dead now. So because they don't see us anymore, oh, the animal got us. But technically, we are in this hole. We are in a hole of depression. We are in the hole of anger. We're in the hole of jealousy, animosity, of fear,
Yep.
low self-esteem, lower. We're in this
Speak it,
hole.
girl. Say it.
We're in this
Okay.
hole. They put us in this hole. And because we're not seen anymore, because what happened? Then we become ashamed that we had a dream, that we told people, well, girl, I want to own my own t-shirt company, or I want to own my own coaching business, or I want to own my own, you know, laptop company or whatever. I don't know why that came out. Um, but I want to do yeah, yummy. I want to do whatever. We tell people, and they're like, please, she ain't finna outdo me. So then what
Mm-hmm.
do? They start talking about us. They put us in the
Mm-hmm.
hole. They make us out to be something that we're not. They'll go out on our Yelp page and our business page or our personal page, and they'll start spinning these narratives, and they start giving these false reviews. And then people are like, oh, I wouldn't want to do business with her because look at what they're saying, right? So his brothers put him in a hole, went back and told the dad a lie, and was like, well, the animal got him. And so, we just want to let you know. Now, here's me as a parent out of 12, 13 of y'all, all out together. One dies, just one. One of y'all dies. And then y'all come back with his clothes. Okay. All right. Because now that's back then, I'm pretty sure he thought about it, but Jacob probably. Anyway, so they come back and they spin this narrative and they lie to him. Well, then they said, oh, well, we got to get him out of the hole. So now we got to get her out of the hole. So what we'll do is we'll just, we'll give her a little bit, and then we'll pretend like we have her best interests at heart, and and then sell us off to the next best, the highest bidder, and put us in these situations and circumstances. How many of us have gone through that? We're with this homegirl because now she done came back and got us. Now I'm your friend, and now I've loved you, and whatever, man, whatever it is. They come back and get us out this hole, and then they put us in these messed up situations. put us in the worst of the worst situations to where we end up in prisons. And I'm not talking about a physical, like a prison. I'm talking about a mental prison, an emotional prison, a spiritual
Mm.
prison, all of these prisons that they put us in. Can you imagine Joseph like, well, now I didn't ask for all this. I just told him I had a dream. That's all I did. And you hate me that bad because I said I had a dream? And
Mm.
you, it just baffles me that people will hate you just because you had a dream, just because you said you wanted to do something with better with your life.
Right.
Just because you said, you know what, I don't want to be, low down with Pookie no more. I'm just over it. I don't want to keep coming to this job that's paying me 16.50 an hour. I just don't want to do it. I want to do better. I want to own a business. I want to, and so that person's like, okay, you know what? Girl, I got you. I'm here for you, girl. I understand. And then they'll lie and be like, well, I had a lot going on, so that's why I didn't call you while you're in the hole. They put you in the hole. And, I'm sorry, I just had a lot of personal stuff going on. Girl, I was just busy. And this is was okay, good night, Gail. It was good seeing you.
Good night,
Um,
Gail.
Good night, Gail.
Um, so it's the, well, I got, and so they put you in this hole and then they come back, they have, what's that saying? They circle back. So then they circle back and then you thinking all is well, y'all hanging out, y'all kicking it, y'all doing all this other stuff, only to find out she is now about to sell you off to the highest bidder, to the highest bidder, put you in this hole, and now you out here and you working for a person that you just like, I don't even know, but you have a gift, right? You got a gift.
Mm.
And so Pharaoh sees it and he's just like, well, who is this guy? I need somebody to interpret this dream. Because guess what? He was a dreamer. He knew how to interpret the dream. He's like, well, all right. So to your homegirls, well, y'all don't forget about me. You working with people, you probably done gave them a little message, gave them a word here and there, gave them something, something that you've made, one of your gifts, whatever. And they go and y'all end up in jail because y'all all in jail together. Y'all in this little prison together. And you tell them, girl, don't forget about me, okay? And so they go back and something happens. And the person, and you have what that person needs on the outside. And they're like, oh, you know what? I know this girl named Rhonda, and she got blah 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 blah. And they be like, "Oh, go get her. Can you call her for me?" They call Rhonda and they do this and they call Tangy and they call Tara and Zakia and they call and they be like, hey, I got this person that needs such and such, blah blah blah. Then you come out and then you give them what they need. Joseph, he interprets the dream, tells them what the dream means, and he was like, but I can teach you how to save in the time of famine and in the time of wealth, because there's going to be two different kinds. Okay. What that means is we need to learn how to start saving so that when famine comes, we'll have enough to give, not just to ourselves,
Hmm.
but to the people outside in the world. So I'm going to teach you how to do this, you know, so you can learn how to do it. So then you'll have enough to give to everybody else, right? But the very person that said they weren't going to bow down to you, homie, the homies, you know, Shaquisha and all them, you know, ones that got jealous of you back in the day, you know, they was all jealous of you, talking about she wasn't never gonna make it. Probably said, she out there and then, she left. That's the reason why she ain't doing this because they thought, well, she ain't gonna make it. So now they need you, right? They need, I'm sorry, they need what you have. Come on here, God. They need what you have. So now they got to come to where you at to get what you need. Now they don't recognize you because guess why? You don't went through the growth. You don't, I need to write a message about that one. But you don't went through the growth. You don't went through the change. You've changed your outlook. You've changed your appearance. You changed how you value yourself. You changed how how you move, how you operate. Because I got a gift. And so Joseph is like, he's changed. Over the course of time, he's changed. They don't even recognize you because you've changed, but they need what you have. And they said, go on over there to that girl. She got whatever. And then they bring you and you see them and you just be like, ooh. Now Joseph, he was petty. If y'all read the story, y'all say he was petty. Joseph was being petty. Okay. He was being real, real petty. So he was like, all right. He had a brother. He had a friend, had a good friend. And so he's like, listen, so y'all, if you get her, she got to stay here. Go and bring her here, but y'all got to go. And then set him up. Y'all remember when he set him up, put the gold, told the servants, go ahead and put the gold in their bag because that's going to make them have to come back here. He was being so petty. How many of us would love to be so petty? Oh, that would be such a wonderful thing to be petty with people that just was like, they put you in this hole of embarrassment, shame, depression, sadness, envy, strife. And then you come out and you're a whole different person and you want to be petty because Joseph was petty, petty. Okay. Kept the brother. Go ahead and leave him here. Okay. And y'all go back and tell your daddy this is what happened. Okay. They were so far gone. Oh God, I love this message. So far gone that they didn't even recognize that this is the boy that you put in a hole. This is the boy that you sold. You sold him because of a dream that he had. You were so jealous of me, so envious of me that you sold me and you don't even recognize me. That's how you know you so far gone. You weren't even thinking about me. You didn't care because you don't even recognize me. You don't even know the sound of my voice. Joseph's like, okay, I'll fix you. He starts setting them up. Start doing this. Go
Let me
back
give
and
her a telling on a minute.
huh?
No, I'm sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. So it's so he being petty because I know I probably would have been. I know there's some days I want to be petty, but we just leave that to God. But go ahead and put the gold in the thing. The servants stopped them. The soldiers stopped them. Found the gold. They like we didn't even know what happened. Kept them there as prisoners for days and was like, this what's gonna happen. Y'all gonna leave the youngest brother here, which was his favorite. Y'all gonna leave him here, and y'all gonna go back out there to your daddy and tell your daddy what happened. Oh
Sure
no,
did.
that's not what happened. What he did was he said, where is the youngest one? Where is he at? Is there another brother? And they were like, yeah, he's at home. All right, so y'all gonna stay here. He kept a few of them there and then sent some of the brothers back and was like, we need to bring him back. He knows he wants him. Bring him back. I'm just kind of paraphrasing the story. So they had to go and get him. Jacob is probably like, oh my goodness, what have y'all done? They had to go get him, brought him back, and then kept the little brother and told him, now y'all go back and do what you got to do. But he ain't going.
Mm-hmm. Sure
Because
did.
here's the thing. Here's what we know for sure. Because if you could do it to me, I could imagine what you would do to them.
Mhm.
So if you could do it to me, I don't know what you would do to my little brother, but go ahead and get him, bring him back, brought him back, and then had a dinner, had a feast, sat down with him at the table. Petty. Boy, that's petty. You have to be at
Mm-hmm.
the low, I mean, you have to have a strategic mind to be so petty. He just sat down with him at the table, having conversation with them, just going through, telling them the story, and they just like, oh, huh? And then they realize this is our brother. Oh my gosh, we thought you died. No, no. Now I'm in the palace. See how you did me? And remember the dream that I had? The very thing that I told you was going to happen. It happened. And here you are, all 12 of you. And guess what you have to do? You have to bow down to me just so
Mm-hmm.
y'all can get something to eat and take it back to my daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that
He
crazy?
cried too.
Hmm. So he said, now go get my daddy, bring him back here, and so he can be with me so y'all won't be without. That's the love that we have, that God has. That right there, to forgive your brothers when they spun this narrative and then lied. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. Okay. So defamation of character. I love this message. I wish I could have, made it more expounded on it a little bit more. But does anybody have anything they want to say, talk about, in reference to this, or is there something y'all want to get off your chest? If you want me to record it, I can. I don't have to.
Um, I think every day people care to be attacked, whether it's at work, whether it's with your family, loved ones. It's always people sometimes closer also to you
Mm-hmm.
that also hurt you the worst and talk about you. Might turn around and say you ain't a good parent, your kids, or whatever the situation is. It's always going to be somebody try to break
Defamate that
you
character.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just put you out there to look bad, no matter how much you do. Like an incident. My ex-husband always got something, no matter how much I teach his kids to constantly come back and be good to him, talk to
Mm-hmm.
him, and keep them in it, their life. It's always he's gonna come back and blame me or say, your mama this, your mama that, this, that. No
Mm-hmm.
matter what I do. And I could have nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gonna always find some way to put me in the picture. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I find it, and then my kids was like, you always forgive him. Why you always overlook what he do? It's not that I overlook what he do. It's that I'm the bigger picture. And what God has put in me is gifts that he might not have in him.
Mm-hmm.
My heart might be able to forgive and overlook his foolish and ignorancies at times. And sometimes it do other people where he can attack who I am as a person anymore because of the fact is he don't have that power. He don't have the power. I have
Yeah.
the power. I have the power to interact how I want to act with whatever he said. Like he told my son today, he was talking to my son. There's a whole lot of stuff been going down. And when I say, baby, the storm is storming, it is storming over here.
My God.
But but the thing is so much has been coming, and I'm like, God, what is all of this coming at me? I mean, left, right. It's like I almost need to put up my dukes, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
so exhausted from putting them up because of the fact is I don't have the energy to fight.
Because
So
it's
I'm
not
just like,
your fight. That I really want you to get that. I don't know where we're going with this, but when those attacks come, Miss Tangi, it's for you to understand that a lot of what we do, especially behind our children, like I stopped fighting with my daughter's dad, gosh, probably when my kids are like 12. I'm not gonna argue with you. And I'm not gonna argue with you because I know what I do and I know what I have done for these kids. But what I'm saying to you is you have fought so long for these children. They are now grown. And now on the battlefield, what's happening, what spirit is showing me, excuse me, is on the battlefield, Miss Tangi, you are still trying to fight battles that don't have your name, that's not your battle. It's like spirit is like, okay, why? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why is she out there? What do you see her? And it's like they're telling you, get off the battlefield. That is not your. It's like David. Remember when David was fighting Goliath, and they was trying to put
mhm.
him in all this armor and stuff? That ain't no. And David said, that ain't me. This is no longer your fight. Anything that
But you
goes
know
on,
what? But
anything that
he,
goes on with no, anything that goes on with your children, that is their fight. Because if you're tired, I don't. It's like spirit is like, why is she out there fighting for grown kids? Like you're fighting their battle. That no, that you are no longer a part of that equation. So really, in essence, what they're telling you is to drop your sword, take off your armor, and walk away and go
but
play
you
in the
know,
fields.
but it's not that I'm fighting for them. It's like how do I want to say it? Like Michael was telling Mikhail today, he took Mikhail's girlfriend in his house, and he was just telling Mikhail, and him and Mikhail is going back and forth at it. It's going at it where it's coming to custody. And he was like, you know what? Debbie would have rotten in that group home. Nobody wanted Debbie. Debbie would have rotten there. And nobody thought about taking her ever out that group home, son. I opened up my door and I took her in because she would have rot. You took her in, yes. That was a choice you made. Debbie is not my child. Mikhail is my child. I can't take Debbie in because I was not, the spirit told me not to, and I had to be obedient to what the spirit said. And I really see why the spirit said that. I get it. It would have been so much chaos. So I'm listening to him talking to Mikhail, she would have right. The words he used to twist things and to manipulate, like I told Mikhail, he needs to stop telling Debbie she would write into the group home. She would have written there. He needs to not use words that hurt and make her think that I left her there to hurt her. I didn't let her come live with me. No, I didn't, honey. And no, I didn't leave you in there to rot. What they have for you, I can't give you. And that's the decision I made based on what's best for you. Now, whether you was going to ride in a group home for the rest of your life, who knows? God got so many miracles that he has for her. Her and Mikhail could have got their own place later. That's not to say Michael could have rescued her. That was not for me to rescue her. I didn't do it. But at the end of the day, this girl rolling her eyes and just so angry at me because she feel that I betray her